I have a legal note.
You want to take this one, Joy, or are you
Matt
good?
Gaetz has long denied all allegations and has not been charged with any crime.
That's true.
Also, another legal note, Pete Hegseth's lawyer said he paid the woman in 2023 to head off the threat of a baseless lawsuit. He has denied any wrongdoing.
That's interesting. Pay off the witness.
What's up, y'all? Gerald here, creator of Gospel Chops and your host for this YouTube channel, back with another video. Now, y'all, we got to talk about Sunny Hostin, Asuncion, one of the wicked witches of the View that we mentioned several times on this channel because they're so diabolical in their rhetoric. They're always casting aspersions on this show. They always shooting at other folk. But as the old adage says, those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. And here we have this case of the husband of Asuncion Hostin. Boy, where he is being charged, y'all, in a RICO case. Of all things, we know how heavy RICO cases can be. Not only in a RICO criminal case, but he is also being accused in a civil litigation, which makes things exponentially more difficult for the Hostin tribe, the Hostin family. Why? Because we know that Sunny Hostin is a woman of means, y'all. She is a lawyer, an established lawyer. And let me just say, I used to love Sunny Hostin when she would come on, I think it was CNN back in the day, and she would opine on different legal cases. She'd give her legal analysis and opinion. I used to love it. I was inspired by it because she would break those things down from a legal perspective. And I said, oh, she's on point. She knows her stuff. She good. Well, Sunny is a lawyer. Her husband is a physician, a doctor. Y'all, they the Huxtables out here rocking out. They got money. They have means. And it seems that after her career has devolved into what it has become on The View, where she is just throwing stones at other folk all day, every day, well, now her husband is being accused of wrongdoing. And when you come across cases like this, y'all, you know, when you got means and you got money, well, you can hire a good lawyer. You can get some good legal representation. And folks who have money and hire great lawyers tend to kind of wiggle their way out of things because, you know, those prosecutors are always the C students. They're always overloaded with cases. They don't have time to focus on a particular case, so they kind of half do it. And when you hire a lawyer that can focus, laser focused on your case, well, you tend to come out on the winning side when you got a little coin behind you. However, knowing that allegations are hard to prove and facts are hard to find in cases like this, what makes this case different, what makes it stand out to me is that Sunny Hostin went on her show recently and maybe said some things she shouldn't have said. Maybe let out a couple facts that she shouldn't have let out, making it a little easier for prosecutorial investigators to uncover some things. Y'all came across this story from the Daily Mail. It says, who is Emmanuel Hostin? All about Sunny's husband as he is accused of medical fraud. Whew. In a RICO? Oh, all right. So we're looking at some serious allegations here that she's going to have to deal with, that he's going to have to deal with. It's going to be tough on her family. Sunny Hostin wed to Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin in 1998 after meeting at church. Well, that was a surprise to me. I didn't know she was a church-going woman. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. Maybe she knows the way and just refuses to do the things that she knows she needs to do in her heart, because The View is anything but church, anything but religious. In my opinion, they are the Antichrist as they promote things that are anti-American and anti-Christian on this show. They advocate for things that are against Christ's teachings. Okay, let's move on. The couple has 2 children together and reside in New York. Oh, there's a new federal prosecutor that has been named for this upcoming administration that's going to oversee New York. We'll see how this thing works out under the Trump administration. Let's get into this story. It says, The View's Sunny Hostin is married to surgeon Dr. Emmanuel Manny Hostin, who has been accused of medical fraud in a damning lawsuit. Manny is among nearly 200 defendants named in one of the largest RICO cases ever filed in New York. 200 defendants? Y'all, they are claiming this is a fraud ring. You know, you can't conspire by yourself. You got to be at least in it with somebody else conspiring to criminal acts. Now, they say they got 200 people in this web of criminality brought in New York. This is going to be massive. One of the largest RICO cases ever filed in New York, story says. He and many others are accused of getting kickbacks by performing surgery and fraudulently billing a company that insures taxi companies and Uber and Lyft drivers. Oh my goodness. Fraudulent billing. It's going to be tough, bro. You better lawyer up, and you better have your wife shut up on this TV show and stop talking, because they're going to investigate every word she says. Story continues. Hostin knowingly provided fraudulent medical and other healthcare services, including arthroscopic surgeries. The lawsuit filed on December 17th claims. His attorney, Daniel Thwaites, told DailyMail.com his client denies each and every allegation and called the lawsuit a blanket, scattershot, meritless lawsuit by a near bankrupt insurance carrier. Okay, so they saying, hey, this insurance company is coming after us. They're making fake claims against us. They claiming our claims were fake. Well, their claims against us are fake. How about that? Well, you're going to have to settle it before a judge. You're going to have to go before a jury. You're going to have to present evidence. And we know that in cases like this, even if you are found not liable, the legal process can break you. It can put so much stress on your family and your finances. Nobody wants this. Television host Sunny, who makes regular appearances on the ABC panel show alongside Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, Alyssa Farrah-Griffin, Anna Navarro, and Sarah Haynes, wed her husband in 1998. Okay. Got a couple photos here of the couple. They doing well. They looking good together. They all light-skinned and stuff, living life as beautiful people. Okay. Continues. Sunny and Manny met at church in Maryland, with Sunny recalling their first meeting in her memoir. She wrote about it. She penned, "He was gorgeous, decked out in a beautifully tailored suit." The broadcaster also admitted to following him to a nearby bagel shop after the service, where she plucked up the courage to start a conversation. Okay, so looks like maybe she pursued him a little piece. He caught her eye. Okay, well, let's get through all the fluff. Story continues. What does Emmanuel Hostin do for work? Manny has almost 3 decades of experience as an orthopedic surgeon and graduated from the Johns Hopkins School of Medicine in 1996. Great school. But a man must have some great educational credentials to get into a school like that. He currently practices as a doctor in New York and has been affiliated with Mount Sinai and Lenox Hill Hospitals. In January 2021, Sunny revealed during an episode of The View that both of her parents-in-law had died of COVID. Sorry to hear that. That's tragic. Story continues. At the time, she said, "After speaking with my husband, he felt that from a public health standpoint, it was very important for me to share that we are deeply saddened that Manny lost both of his parents over the holidays." Okay, let's continue beyond that. They're giving you the backstory. They're giving you the sad story. What are the charges? In the suit filed in federal court in Brooklyn, Dr. Hostin, 54, is named as the owner of Hostin Orthopedics, working out of an 8th floor office on Lexington Avenue, close to Manhattan's Grand Central Terminal. American Transit claims rampant insurance fraud is endemic in New York State, thanks to its no-fault law, under which insurers must pay up to $50,000 for medical expenses for people injured in road accidents. Lord. Is this an ambulance chasing scheme? Says these substantial possible no-fault recoveries can incentivize providers with ill intent to overdiagnose, overtreat, and overbill to recover the most money for themselves, American Transit said in a statement. The law was introduced in 1974 in the wake of rapidly rising automobile insurance costs and when accident victims were experiencing long delays in compensation, American Transit said in the suit. Y'all, this man is caught up in a situation where they are saying that you are overdiagnosing, overtreating, and thus overbilling the insurance for claims that can't be substantiated based on their research. Story continues, but taxis and rideshare vehicles are now required to pay up to $200,000, 4 times the coverage for private drivers. This has put a target on the backs of livery vehicles and the insurance companies which insure them for unsavory persons seeking to capitalize on payouts following injury. In the aggregate, those abusing the no-fault law have racked up hundreds of millions in fraudulent payments, destabilizing the livery insurance market in New York City, increased premiums for hardworking taxi cab and livery drivers, and harmed the public. American Transit is seeking more than $450 million in damages in the case. Oh, they coming to collect. They saying y'all have defrauded them out of their coins over the years, not just her husband, but over 200 individuals in this RICO claim. And what did Sonny say that could have tipped them off that he was involved in this scheme? Y'all, let's check it out.
Wait, hold on. Let Sonny get in here.
I mean, I agree with mostly everything that's been said. I mean, we know that, only about 31% of Americans trust our healthcare system. We have a terrible healthcare system. And, doctors suffer because of big corporations as well. Doctors that want to do good, like my husband, operates on someone even though they don't have insurance and then has to sue health insurance companies to get paid for the work that he's been trained his whole life to do. So there are a lot of problems with it. But the notion that we are in a violent country, this country was built on violence. We're a very violent country. And it's just undeniable that that's the case. And so I'm not, unfortunately, surprised that people are celebrating the use of violence. I'm not surprised that this young man thought that change could be accomplished through violence. 1 in 4 Americans say violence against government sometimes is justified. And today, in 2024, 1 in 10 Americans say violence is justified right now against corporations and government.
That's very
those are just.
And even though I don't think he might change something, he might have laid out a plan for a copycat. That's what I see.
Yeah.
So it seems that Sonny has tipped off the public and the insurance company as to her husband's practices. She said, hey, if they deny the claim, he'll do the surgery anyway. He puts in a claim, they don't want to insure it, they don't want to cover it. He says, I'm going to do the work anyway, and I'm going to bill you anyway, and I'm going to sue you to force you to pay. Because this is how we do things in New York City. Well, y'all, seems like the insurance company has had enough. And when it gets to this point where they are going to file suit, they have had their investigators on the case. They have done their research. They have looked into the claims. They have interviewed claimants. They're well prepared. These insurance companies got enough money to hire their own great lawyers. They are well represented, and this is going to be a court battle for the ages in New York. This is a federal claim in the District of New York. This is going to be a problem. And maybe it would be less of a problem for this man if his wife had not been bumping her gums on television, casting aspersions upon everyone else, but messed around and slipped up and said a little something that might have implicated her husband in improprieties. Great education, great background, great parents, by what I've read. But he may have gotten caught up in a situation that is untoward. He may have gotten caught up in a situation to enrich himself and his family. Well, we don't know. We're not casting aspersions ourselves, but we know that this lawsuit is definitely going to suss it out. No stone will be left unturned. These attorneys are out to seek over $400 million for their company. I wonder how much they're saying that he claimed. insurance fraud is a problem in this country. It is the high-class hustle of those who have medical degrees, who can tap into circumstances where they are billing in ways that they shouldn't be. Overly billing, overcharging insurances and government and Medicare for situations that are quite illegal, as you can see by these charges. I hope that this is not the case. I hope that they are able to resolve it. I would hope that Sonny would not get on television and be throwing all of these stones at everyone else as a wicked witch of the view, and then you sitting here with all of these skeletons in your closet for yourself and your bourgeoisie family. Say you met your husband at church. Maybe you need to go back to the altar and figure a few things out, Asuncion. I hate that we even have to talk about this, but it is our job to keep the public informed about the goings-on in the mainstream media, the left-wing media, those who would cast aspersions on folks who just want the best for our country. Seems like, Asuncion, if your husband is guilty of these things, he is part of the detriment of this country. Definitely part of the detriment of New York City and the insurance companies who operate there. Now, I ain't caping for insurance companies, y'all. I'm out here on the West Coast where they are dropping coverage for folks whose houses just burned down the other day. No, these insurance companies are the worst of the worst, but they also deal with doctors from time to time who are the worst of the worst themselves. We'll let them fight it out. I hope Sonny finds her way back to church where she met her husband. I hope she finds repentance and forgiveness in that church. And I hope she turns away from the view, finds a better path forward. Y'all, what do you think about this? Sonny Hostin out here talking crazy about folks on her show every day, and here is her husband being charged in a major RICO case that could have implications throughout the state of New York. Let me know what you think about this. I'd love to know your thoughts. And don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share the video so we can get more people involved in the conversation, y'all. And like I always say, always remember and never forget, without the gospel, it's just chops. Until next time, peace.